are some of the plays and the insights of playing baseball at the highest level, not just posting about it. Now, let's flip the script. Here's what my students and families have to say about working with me.
Just share his stories of the kids asking him, what did you do? And his one answer was one word: Evan.
It's an overall great program to improve your metrics, mental approach, your velocity, and your outreaching strategies. Because there's a ton of players I know that are way better than me that had 0 offers because they don't know how to reach out to coaches.
Pretty much every possible number when I've gone up. I was high 70s and now I'm aiming for mid to high 80s and hitting the same thing. I was high 80s off machine and now I'm able to put some balls out in the mid 90s.
JT's motivation to want to do it at home, be proactive in his baseball career, and we are able to do these things for him, and it's self-motivated and he's taken that action. As a parent, you want to be able to say yes to something like that.
It's been making me feel much more confident. Like now going into the season, I feel I have all the ability I need and I can just play and trust that all the work I did will pay off.
Started working out, I was about 120, 115, about 160 now. I trusted it and it worked. If you want it, go get it. It's not going to come to you.
My EV was about 75 and my body weight was around 155, around that. Since I joined that, I'm up to almost 180 now and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing. Like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. I could feel the improvement myself. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
You can give him guidance and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
It was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him, like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you, and that was a big part of why we enjoyed the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just like wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was just like from my size. My infield velo now is 80, and my 6-yard dash is 70.
It's insane. What was the root cause for all that?
I mean, it was just staying consistent with the program. I think just I had to really stay on, like focus on the path that I was trying to get. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to become elite. I was trying to get better. I know the stats at the time. I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. But going back and looking, that's not where I should be to play at the next level. Staying consistent with the program really helped me through that time.
I feel like now I'm really like dialed into what I'm doing. So when I do it, it's just like this before, like you talked about earlier, like it's just coming in naturally.
It felt good. I mean, it gave me my confidence shot up. I think you should join in. You do a really good job of replying back to messages, and you're really fast to help out other people with like coaching and their swings. You're a pretty good coach.
Hitting improved, lifting improved, velocity went up, speed went up, everything in general went up. Before joining, I tracked my 60 time and I was running at 8.22, and then after a while, I did a showcase, and then I ran a 7.08.
What do you think the leading cause for that? That's crazy jump.
Probably mobility and probably the exercises that you have in your academy that allow for growth in those little tiny muscles that people forget about.
I could tell I was hitting the ball a little bit harder, and then it got better and better and better, and then my speed picked up with the sprinting training and all that, and I was just getting a lot better. But before that, it was not super good. I've definitely picked up on my hitting velo. Before I joined the program, my velo was 72 off the bat, and at this showcase, I hit 80.
That's insane, dude.
No, so when I first saw your program, you were talking about how to get to college and how to get D1 and get recruited and all this, and that had me super interested because I'm trying to go D1 and everything, try to get a scholarship and all this, and your program definitely talks about it and helps you walk through it and get you started. Honestly, I would say like the program definitely helped me a lot. Helped me work through some things, get my visualization for games and all that, just get me prepared.
Obviously, like my program's remote. Like, have you had any trouble by doing the work that I provide you?
Not at all. It's right in front of you. You know, so it's super easy to get. Search it up, find it, and start working.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, dos joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
Rounded up
throw.
the middle is Mendoza, throws off the shortstop. Mendoza field spins, throw.
Mendoza, throw to first in time. Wow, what a play by Evan Mendoza.
Short. Mendoza to second for one. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding.
Evan Mendoza.
For Mendoza lifts one to left.
An inning. Mendoza, that one's sailing back there, and it's gone.
Now, those are some of the plays and the insights of playing baseball at the highest level, not just posting about it. Now, let's flip the script. Here's what my students and families have to say about working with me.
Just share his stories of the kids asking him, what did you do? And his one answer was one word. Evan.
It's an overall great program to improve your metrics, mental approach, your velocity, and your outreaching strategies. Because there's a ton of players I know that are way better than me that had zero offers because they don't know how to reach out to coaches.
Pretty much every possible number would have gone up. I was high 70s and now I'm aiming for mid to high 80s and hitting the same thing. I was high 80s off machine and now I'm able to put some balls out in the mid 90s.
JT's motivation to want to do it at home, be proactive in his baseball career, and we are able to do these things for him, and it's self-motivated and he's taken that action. As a parent, you want to be able to say yes to something like that.
It's been making me feel much more confident. Like now going into the season, I feel I have all the ability I need and I can just play and trust that all the work I did will pay off.
Started working out. I was about 120, 115, about 160 now. I trusted it and it worked. If you want it, go get it. It's not going to come to you.
My EV was about 75 and my body weight was around 155, around that. Since I joined that, I'm up to almost 180 now and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing. Like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. I could feel the improvement myself. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
You can give him guidance and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
Which was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him. Like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you. And that was a big part of why we enjoyed the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just like wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was just like from my size. My infield velo now is 80, and my 6-yard dash is 70.
It's insane. What was the root cause for all that?
I mean, it was just staying consistent with the program. I think just I had to really stay on, like focus on the path that I was trying to get. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to become elite. I was trying to get better. I know the stats at the time. I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. But going back and looking, that's not where I should be to play at the next level. Staying consistent with the program really helped me through that time.
I feel like now I'm really like dialed in into what I'm doing. So when I do it, it's just like this before, like you talked about earlier, like it's just coming in naturally.
That felt good. I mean, it gave me my confidence shot up. I think you should join in. You do a really good job of replying back to messages, and you're really fast to help out other people with like coaching and their swings. You're a pretty good coach.
Hitting improved, touching improved, velocity went up, speed went up, everything in general went up. Before joining, I tracked my 60 time and I was running at 8.22, and then after a while, I did a showcase, and then I ran a 7.08.
What do you think leading calls for that? That's crazy jump.
Probably mobility and probably the exercises that you have in your academy that allow for growth in those little tiny muscles that people forget about.
I could tell I was hitting the ball a little bit harder, and then it got better and better and better. And then my speed picked up with the sprinting training and all that, and I was just getting a lot better. But before that, it was not super good. I've definitely picked up on my hitting velo. Before I joined the program, my velo was 72 off the bat, and at this showcase, I hit 80.
That's insane, dude.
No, so when I first saw your program, you were talking about how to get to college and how to get D1 and get recruited and all this, and that had me super interested because, you know, I'm trying to go D1 and everything, try to get a scholarship and all this, and your program definitely talks about it and helps you walk through it and get you started. Honestly, I would say, like, the program definitely helped me a lot, you know, helped me work through some things, get my visualization for games and all that, just get me prepared.
Obviously, like, my program's remote. Like, have you had any trouble by doing the work that I provided you?
Not at all, it's right in front of you. You know, so it's super easy to get. Search it up, find it, and start working.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, dos joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
Grounded up the middle. Mendoza throws off the shortstop. Mendoza field spins. Throw.
Mendoza throw to first in time. Wow, what a play by Evan Mendoza. Short. Mendoza to second for one. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding.
Evan Mendoza.
For Mendoza lifts one to left.
An inning.
Mendoza, that one's sailing back there, and it's gone.
Now, those are some of the plays and the insights of playing baseball at the highest level, not just posting about it. Now, let's flip the script. Here's what my students and families have to say about working with me.
Just share his stories of the kids asking him, what did you do? And his one answer was one word. Evan.
It's an overall great program to improve your metrics, mental approach, your velocity, and your outreaching strategies. Because there's a ton of players I know that are way better than me that had zero offers because they don't know how to reach out to coaches.
Pretty much every possible number would have gone up. I was high 70s and now I'm aiming for mid to high 80s and hitting the same thing. I was high 80s off machine and now I'm able to put some balls out in the mid 90s.
JT's motivation to want to do it at home, you know, be proactive in his baseball career, and we are able to do these things for him, and it's self-motivated and he's taken that action. As a parent, you want to be able to say yes to something like that.
It's been making me feel much more confident. Like now going into the season, I feel I have all the ability I need and I can just play and trust that all the work I did will pay off.
Started working out, I was about 120, 115, about 160 now. I trusted it and it worked. If you want to go get it, it's not going to come to you.
My EV was about 75 and my body weight was around 155, around that. Since I joined that, I'm up to almost 180 now and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing. Like a game changer.
Through your program, I just
Yo. Hope everyone's having a great day today. Welcome into another episode of Coffee and Baseball. I'm your host, Evan Mendoza. I played 7 years of professional baseball between the Cardinals and Padres. Hope you guys are having a great day today. Again, this is another episode of Coffee and Baseball, and one of my favorite things to do is move it over to the next day, which we're going to do right here, if it allows me to. And today is day 13 of 50 of streaming every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern time, it looks like on. We're going to move this a little bit wider so it's easier to see. And there we go. I'll just sit on that side. There we go. Make it look a little bit better for you guys. All right. Well, today we're going to be doing some profile reviews over on Instagram of, high school baseball players. We're not just doing anyone out there. We're going to do some Q&A also as well. So if you have any baseball related questions, guys, feel free to ask. There was a good question as we were in the waiting room that someone asked, so I want to start off things hot. My son's high school coach doesn't really help with recruiting. How much does that matter? And sometimes, as you guys know, sometimes I'll go ahead and record stuff for short form as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. My son's high school coach doesn't really help with recruiting. How much does that matter? So in my opinion, that shouldn't matter too much, because ideally these high school coaches aren't needing to take the responsibility of the whole college recruiting process for each and every one of their players. The coach, the high school coach's job is really to develop these players, not to necessarily get them recruited. Yes, they're supposed to develop them to the ability to get recruited, but as far as the intricate work and the outreach, the high school coach is not going to do that. Without a doubt, these high school coaches will pick up the phone when a college coach calls them up, because of course they want their players to get recruited, and so do I. I want my players to get recruited as well. But as far as taking the initiative to actually outreach to these coaches over here, and that's you right here, that is your responsibility. That is not a high school coach's responsibility. That is not a travel ball's responsibility to do the outreach as far as the emails, right? Because this is an area there where I think a lot of high school baseball players and parents completely neglect, and they expect the high school coach or the travel ball to take that initiative and to help them out in this exact process. So hopefully that gives you guys some clarity and some understanding, especially on who should be taking that responsibility, who should be doing the work in the whole college recruiting process. Guys, one thing that I'm going to go ahead and actually get started up with, just because that was a good start as far as the outreach side of things, I'm going to be doing Instagram profile reviews. So I actually loaded up some players, and if you guys could do me a huge favor, just because I know some people are probably coming in and leaving from this Instagram, and that's totally fine, especially this live. This was someone, Samuel, actually joined in when we were in the waiting room. So if we could tag Samuel, so that way we can get him back into this live, so that way this is valuable for him. I'm gonna actually just try to do this myself, and Samuel Kim _34. I don't know if that's gonna actually tag him or not, but if we're able to tag him, or maybe go to his profile, hit him up, comment on a post or something like that, just to let Samuel Kim know that I am reviewing his profile. Let me try this one more time, because I don't know if I did that wrong. I feel like I just put the text and I didn't actually tag him. Is there a way to actually tag this to, if we could send this live to Samuel Kim, that's his username, just to make sure that he's getting that. By the way, guys, for some other players that joined into this live, I'm going to be doing some live profile audits of some of these individuals, and basically give you guys my 2 cents, especially on the college recruiting process and how we're able to really present ourselves in a little bit more professional manner, especially coming on social media. So let's get started. And if Samuel Kim joins into this live at any point, make sure that he comments or he says what's up or something like that. All right. So Samuel Kim, very first impression is, let me just make sure I'm on the right file. Okay. Very first impression, he's active, right? And the reason that I know he's active is because he has an active Instagram story, right? This isn't a dead account. He's posting actively, considering he has that ring around his profile picture, which means he has basically some level of an Instagram story. It could be reposting this or reposting that, but either way, he's showing that he's active on the platform, which is always going to be a plus. The profile picture, in my opinion, it's a pretty good quality picture. It's a little bit far away, but I still love the fact that you're in a baseball stance. It very much so screams that you play baseball. Obviously a really good thing. All right. Right off the bat, you're going with the emoji style bio, which is completely okay. With the emojis here, and here, and here, right? All those things are great. By the way, this is managed by parents, which is totally okay. Especially since he's a 2033. I don't know what grade that is in particular. I think that's probably 6th grade, maybe 7th grade. I'm not entirely sure. But, class of 2033, that's 11U, there we go. American, Korean, what is that, French? That's pretty cool. The one downfall that I see right off the bat for Samuel Kim's profile is, and this is probably, considering it is managed by the parents, this could be the parents kind of just trying to scream, hey, my son can play any position that he wants to. He's good at all positions. So we're going to post that he can play all positions, right? That's not something that actually college coaches are looking for. And if anything, it screams that you don't have your set position. Ideally, if your son's like realistically a shortstop, that's always going to be the best for your son to be able to develop and to be able to grow, right? If we're just putting like so many different positions, it kind of just shows we don't have that one true position where we're actually good and quality. I have no idea what that means, but I think that's really cool. It screams that, Samuel Kim is, unique. It's really cool as well. I think this is something that, based off his age, I think it's completely okay. It kind of just tells other people that, these posts are done basically from the parents' perspective. There is going to be a switch, right? So right now, it's parents. Let's just I don't know what just happened right there. Okay, there is going to be a time. So right now, it's parent. P is for parent. A is for athlete. There is going to be a point in time where you have to shift that responsibility and not be posting on your son's behalf. And the reason for that is because the athlete needs to take the initiative to actually post on his own behalf, to be able to get in front of these college coaches, to be able to take that initiative. That's something that, a lot of high school baseball players don't want to do because they don't want to, feel, uncomfortable around their friends, or they don't want to be made fun of or things like that. Very, very common, by the way. So when we're looking at like some of these posts, totally fine right now because you're looking at it from the parent's perspective, which is completely okay. But there's going to be a point in time where you do have to view it from the player's perspective. Is the content that you're posting going to possibly put your son in an uncomfortable position when he reaches high school, when he reaches college? Just always keep that future mindset available. But yeah, as far as everything we got right here, I think Instagram might have some rules as far as when you can put a link in bio. I always instruct a lot of my students to put a YouTube video because it's one of the quickest way for college coaches to be able to evaluate you or your son in a quick 30-second highlight video that is well edited. And again, this screams professionalism because you're taking into account how many highlight videos these college coaches are watching every single day. And that's definitely an area that we want to take into account as well. So as far as Samuel Kim, if Samuel Kim is in here, I'm not entirely sure if he is or not. I would probably grade Samuel Kim's profile, I'd say like an 8.7 out of 10, all right? Because for the most part, like this is pretty solid. I would say like there is an opportunity, you know how on Instagram you can do pinned post up to 3, I believe. So this is an opportunity that you can put your best content and especially your best highlight videos to make sure that it's very, very obvious to these college coaches. So 8.7, I don't think we're gonna get much higher than that. So great job, Samuel Kim, or really Samuel Kim's parents. All right, let's get into Gavin Baseball. I don't know if Gavin's still in here. I think he's joined into a couple of these lives before. So let's go over it. So again, showcasing that he's active because he has an Instagram story up right now. And by the way, if anybody knows Gavin, if we all want to tag Gavin, I'm gonna try tagging Gavin Baseball 12 right now and see if he joins it. I don't know if that tag actually works, but if anybody knows Gavin Baseball, if anybody wants to, let him know that we're basically reviewing his profile right now, let him know, go to his profile, comment on a post and just say, yo dude, at Mendoza Baseball Academy is reviewing your profile, whatever. But anyway, so one thing that we're always, I'm always viewing as a missed opportunity 99% of the time. And if we go back to, Samuel Kim, we're neglecting a profile name, which really describes ourselves. So this could be position, this could be grad year, and those are two things that are taken away from the bio, which means we have more real estate right here, right? So again, if we look at Gavin right here, if Gavin did, it looks like he's on CBA National 2026. So if he put a vertical line right here, 2026, another vertical line, okay, he's trying to get some fitness junkie, whatever, another code. So like the one thing is like I don't know what position Gavin plays, and that's a missed opportunity in his bio. I was just looking for it, and like ideally we always want to showcase what position we are. So I'm going to completely guess on what position Gavin is right now and put that he's a shortstop, right? So in this what's called a profile name, this is inside the Instagram settings, inside the profile settings. This is an area that we can always scream to these college coaches who we are as far as graduation year, what we play as far as position, and then that gives us more real estate again right here to better explain maybe our metrics, or to tell them what the next step is to learn a little bit more about myself, right? Or about Gavin, which ideally you can see Gavin has one more link. This is a psychology that I want to kind of just break down real quick for you guys, because maybe you guys don't understand it. By the way, I am going to be going over my personal profile, and I use a lot of these things myself. So think about this, guys. If you have person A over here and person B, okay? Person A, you're given 4 options, right? And let's say person B, the person that controls person B's Instagram, knows I'm creating an Instagram account for one person, and that one person is a college baseball coach, right? So if I know that one person is a college baseball coach, I'm just gonna give him one direction. I don't care if you're like a parent over here, you know, like I'm not gonna send them a link right here to an athletic bands or whatever, like the thing that I'm promoting, right? Because again, I'm trying to only serve that one person, right? So that one person is a college coach, and a college coach is gonna be looking for that highlight video right here, right? That's what that college coach only cares about, right? So we're gonna simplify it by only having one link, just one simple link in our Instagram profile, right? It's as simple as that, guys. I want you guys to realize this. It's called a thing called decision fatigue, and we never want these college coaches to have to decide on what link to click. Now, if you're thinking about your friends and which one looks cool, yeah, put 17 different links in your Instagram bio. What's also going to happen is what we see right here. You see how it says one more? I don't know what that one more is. That could be your highlight video. That could be exactly for these college coaches, but I don't know because it says one more. So again, you have to click on something to see what that link is. Now, typically speaking, code FJ Gavin, you're promoting something just to be able to make like a commission off of it. That's how typically a lot of these commission structures work for influencer marketing. I've done plenty of them, and typically speaking, they're good for like that lower level high school or college athlete. If you're looking for bigger NIL opportunities, you need to make sure to shoot me a follow, because this is the stuff that I love to talk about. I've been able to acquire brand deals with DraftKings, Oakley, Evo Shield. You know, this t-shirt I got for free. Like, there's plenty of things to get for free out there in the world, especially with influencer marketing, and that's a part of the umbrella of NIL. But that's not what I'm going to get into in this video right now, unless you guys really want a little bit more of a backstory about some of those brand deals, how they're constructed, what are the deliverables, things like that. I can get into that if you're interested in it. But anyway, one thing that I want to say, getting back to, again, decision fatigue, we want to eliminate decision fatigue, right? So ideally, we want one highlight video for that specific college baseball coach. But now getting back into this is where I shouldn't have done that. One thing I want to hit on is, like, having your threads is okay, but I would much rather you have the coach's attention right then and there. They've landed on your Instagram profile. Why would we try to redirect them to a different profile? Which ideally is threads. And especially if we have a link in the bio, I'm gonna change color because I'm getting a little overwhelmed here. If we have a link in the bio for a YouTube video, which is probably the best way to really showcase our skills in a little bit more of a professional long form way, we don't need to have YouTube here and threads there, right? So I truly believe the $100 or so that you're making from this brand and this brand, I would just completely take those out of your bio, dude, because like I want you to think about, like, you know, if you have two different brands, would you rather a brand deal from Represent the Code or want a brand deal from Oakley? Probably Oakley, right? Because Oakley is the best eyewear company out there. Don't even give me anything about Velo shades or about 100% or, you know, Pit Vipers. Don't give me that. Oakley literally has the best lenses. That's the reason why I've only worn Oakleys in my entire career. They're the best. But one thing I want to hit on, and again, it is getting kind of messy. We have one link there. We have another link there, and we have another link there. Now, if I was able to really zoom in on my smartphone, on my iPhone, I would have to zoom in this much to ensure when I click there, it's actually going to open up that link. I don't know if you guys like understand, like, it probably looks something of that level. if you click anywhere in this direction, it's probably going to go to one of those links, and it's probably going to be the wrong one, and then I'm going to have to like decipher with my finger and like make sure I'm picking the right one, right? Not necessarily the best situation if you're a college baseball coach. I will say, this is something that I only saw because I zoomed out. Congratulations on the commitment, dude. That's awesome. North Carolina Wesleyan University. Obviously, that's a huge honor to be able to play at the next level. So if your mindset is more into, hey, I'm trying to brand myself for NIL opportunities and things of that nature, Gavin, if that's something that you're interested in, I actually do love talking about social media, especially for baseball players, posting a little bit more consistently, because that's something that I think baseball players need to feel more comfortable with, especially moving into the NIL opportunities, to be able to get brand deals, to be able to document the journey. These are all things that I'm extremely passionate about talking about. So let's get into the next person that we're going to be reviewing, which is Martin C. So as you can see right off the bat, this profile is private, even for me, right? So he follows me, but like, I have no idea who Martin C is, right? It might be Martin Cano. He's a center fielder, maybe from 29. So this is where our username, we don't want to overcomplicate it, right? Because M Cano CF29, right? It looks more like a gamer tag, where I'd much rather you eliminate this type of stuff and get more around your first and last name. If you have to, first and last name, graduation year. But this is where, again, profile name, we can do 2029, and then center field. Very clean. It shows just who we are, what graduation year we are, and what position we play. We got a fellow Colombian in the house, which is always good to hear. Prep 27, again, or wait, okay, so maybe 29 is your, okay, maybe 29 is your jersey number, and that's okay as well. So if we put 2027 here, that would probably be better aligned. So by the way, guys, if anybody knows Martin Cano and wants to tag him, go to his comments. That would actually help me out to make sure that I'm able to talk directly to Martin. And by the way, guys, if you want me to review your Instagram or your son's Instagram profile, just put that bell emoji, that alarm emoji, and then I'll be able to review it, and then I'll be able to screenshot it, etc. Cool. So as you can tell, we have one right here. We do have the vertical line, so I don't know if Martin's been following up a little bit. We've got a Bible verse, which is always awesome, and very much so, like me, a Colombo Americano. So here we go. Yeah, like the biggest area I would say is for the profile name. That's probably the most underrated area. And then as far as the bio, it is clean, right? We have one link right here. I would say if we can basically click the return button and basically create a new line right here, and then basically say like, watch my highlight video. And then maybe in parentheses like fall 2025 to make them know that it's relevant and it's whatchamacallit. Gabe, I see that you just joined in and we got a 2027 that looks like a baseball account. Dude, if you want me to review your profile, just sit tight. I'll do that at the very end. We got like 2 or 3 more. So Gabe, if you're listening to this, if you're still in this live, just give me like a thumbs up so you know to stick around on this live. I'll review your profile just like I'm doing this. I want a little bit more active people that are actually watching, because I don't think Martin right now is in this live. So let's move on to the next one. We got Noah Weaver, 09. I like the username, that it's very obvious and it's very searchable as well. Again, profile name, we can put 2027, as we can see that he's a 2027. Football and baseball, you can put like dual sport, because it looks like you're a QB, which is always good. I would say enlarge that, right? So like if you're on that profile, enlarge it so that way we can see it a little bit more. Brax Dub, absolutely Holly. Hopefully, and just give me confirmation, is that Brax Dub on Instagram? I just want to make sure, and then I'll make sure to upload it and everything once I'm done with all these. So yeah, profile name, it's an area. Profile picture needs to be enlarged. Ideally, if we can have a story ring around here to show that college coaches that we are active on the profile. We only have one post though. So one thing I will say is like this one post, it's a high quality picture, dude. I do like that because that is, you know, showing that professionalism. I personally think like this picture would do a lot better as your profile picture. But one thing I will say, like you are looking away I think it's Fernando Mendoza has a similar profile picture on Instagram where he's looking to the side. It's a black and white profile. I always like more just headshot. You're looking directly to the camera. These are things. Chris, I'm going to hit you up once I'm done with a couple of these. We got a little bit of a queue, but stick around. Don't go anywhere. But yeah, football and baseball, again, we're guiding traffic to Threads. And in my opinion, college coaches aren't necessarily going to be recruiting a lot on Threads. If anything, we want to eliminate that and put a YouTube link in bio. Right? So, and this YouTube link is going to head over to maybe a football and baseball highlight video combined into one to showcase not only the football coaches what you're all about, but also the baseball coaches. Because I don't know if you guys realize this, but when baseball coaches know that you're a quarterback and you're considering going to play maybe D2, D3, a lower end D1 football program, these college baseball coaches like want to snatch you up before you get to that level, right? So let's go to Gavin Bourgeois. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I am not good with names sometimes, guys. But yeah, Chris, don't go anywhere. I'm going to hit you up. And then also Holly, I'm going to hit up your son Braxton as well. Cool. So Gavin, again, no profile name. We could put grad year, but we don't even know it, right? We could put position, but again, we don't even know. We're missing out so much by not having a bio. And that could be because this is your personal page. I really don't know. One thing I will say is you only have one post, right? Looks like you might be in Boston, which is cool. I think, like, to be honest with you, like this profile picture, it shows that you're a baseball player, right? You're in an athletic movement, probably middle infielder. But this is a higher quality picture where, like, honestly, that's a pretty good circle. I think I would make that your profile picture, dude. Because that's just so much tighter. You can see facial expression. You can see what you look like, and that's going to be due. But again, guys, we're missing out so much of the real estate in our bio to basically tell us or tell college coaches who we are, what we do, our positions, our graduation year, things like that. So, Gavin, if you see this, make sure to change up some of those things. Okay, let's talk about Jackson Pacheco. Okay, first and foremost, active, right? You can see that he's active. He has multiple posts, 53 posts. He has no problem posting on his own behalf. It looks like his own behalf. It could be a parent ran account. We don't know that. Class of 2023. Now, I don't know if you guys feel this like internally, but what do you guys think about his bio? I just want to hear like maybe one person's response. What do you think about his bio? If it's good, if it's bad, if there's improvements, how do you just overall feel about his bio? And as I'm doing that, I'm gonna get Brax Dub. Any thoughts on his, and this is like, it's important to realize what other people are doing as well. So that way you can understand like, okay, what are the areas that I could be improving on as well? Because that's going to help you out so much. We got Braxton, we got Chris Bebacho. That's 17. All right. Cool. All right, so we got those. Yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on the profile? Anything that you feel like needs to change up? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get these screenshots over to my iPad, just so that we're locking and loading. We're ready to go. Holly and Chris, those are on the way. So, okay, so yeah, what I want to get back into, guys, is I don't know how you guys feel about that, but like we need some spaces, right? Seattle Select Baseball Class of 2023, right? So like class of, in my opinion, that could be CO. In my opinion, it's obvious if it's a baseball account, if you just put 2030, right? Again, profile name, we're doing a profile name, Jackson Pacheco, number 5 Seattle Select. A lot of stuff going on. So this is more of a search function. So not many people are searching on Instagram, Jackson Pacheco, number 5 Seattle Select. If anything, people might be searching up, especially college baseball coaches, 2027 catchers. And that's what we use that profile name for, is more of a searchability, especially on Instagram. Athlete chasing greatness with, and then the team name. This is where I prefer single lines that are a little bit shorter rather than one carry on line like we are doing right here. Again, we're missing kind of a CTA. That's the professional way of saying basically move your finger down, click the link in the bio for a highlight video. But I do really appreciate you doing some level of highlights. Now, I will say this highlight in particular, just based off of the profile image, it does look like it's a game changer film that's a million miles away, and probably I won't be able to tell a single thing as far as what you're doing. Now, as far as that profile picture, I think it's fine. I would try to zoom in a little bit closer, think school picture. I think that's always going to be better. But as far as the piece of content that you're actually posting, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It looks like, you know, this is pretty cool quality. This is a little bit more of a higher quality close up, probably practice catching off of a machine maybe. This was at Washington, which is pretty cool. So as far as the content looks okay, but the bio needs a lot of work as far as just simplicity. I think a lot of you guys can agree. So before we get into Holly's son and Chris, I want to go over kind of some of these concepts with you all and for you guys to be able to understand what I'm kind of talking about. So again, right now I'm honestly right here. I'm not really taking advantage of the profile name because I don't need my personal page to be searchable. My academy page though, I do have like baseball development. I have like a line, baseball development. But this is more for when I was just, you know, playing. I posted a lot more consistently on my personal page, and that's where I was able to gain a lot of followers. You know, athlete founder, one single @ right? Because ideally I'm trying to move traffic over to the academy's page. I don't care about my personal page anymore. I want more people on my academy's page. By the way, yeah, Derek, I'll hit you up in a second. I have a couple of people in line though, but I put my location just because, like, in my opinion, I'm not optimizing this account for a single thing. I'm not optimizing my account for brand deals or this or that or anything. I'm really just trying to drive more traffic to the academy, right? And that's why I have that link in the bio. Right here, I have a couple of highlights as far as my YouTube channel. Guys, go check out my YouTube channel if you haven't already. My review, and then the World Baseball Classic videos, which was really cool. I'm also utilizing pinned posts and reels because I want to be able to tell my story in a part 1, a part 2, and a part 3. If you guys haven't watched those yet, they give you guys everything as far as my story in baseball, especially my 7-year professional career. So these are some of the concepts that I always enjoy talking about. But let's get to some of the people that asked for a review, starting off with Braxton. All right, so Braxton, shame on you not following me. Anyway, we got a verified account, which is cool. I don't know if that's coming from like anything in particular. Sometimes the verified accounts can be just like purchased for like $14.99. It does showcase a little bit more of a professionalism. Sometimes it stands out. I'm sometimes like curious on who's who if they have the verified badge. But again, I have to realize like it's not given out like it used to be. In professional baseball, they would give it out to only like pro athletes, celebrities, things like that. But there's actually someone that joined in that it was pretty cool. They had a verified badge because they were in one of a Netflix movie that I thought was pretty cool. But again, profile name, we're missing out the profile name. Left-handed pitcher, first base, outfield. I think this is too many. If we're a lefty, a first baseman, an outfielder, pick the two that we're best at. So that way we can do like left-handed pitcher, first base. Which is a pretty common, you know, separator basically. Gonzaga 2029. I'm guessing that's Gonzaga High School. It would be probably important to put like an HS 2029. Again, 2029 can be put up here, so that way it doesn't have to be put right there. That's where you could also put like Gonzaga High School vertical line travel team, whatever the travel team is, right? Again, we could put some level of a CTA that basically tells them to point the finger downwards to the link. But there's no highlights. That's okay. Highlights are not needed, but we are not utilizing any pinned posts, right? But this quality of content is actually really, really solid. So this is something that we always want to make sure of, is like good quality content will always make the environment open for these brands to want to partner up, because ideally what brands will really be looking for with smaller creators is the association at a smaller age or a younger age, so that way they can always be alongside with them throughout that process, right? But yeah, as far as like the quality of content looks really solid. As far as the content, this is all, in my opinion, good to go. It's really just making sure that we're optimizing the bio for someone that comes to the page. Oh yeah, by the way, I can't really see anything about Braxton or who he is or anything based off his profile picture, so that's just something to always keep in mind. We would rather a more headshot professional picture. I believe like Chris, but let me see. Yeah, so Chris is doing a little bit better job as far as the profile picture. And what I mean by that is it's very obvious to see who Chris is. And by the way, like Chris, hopefully you're still in here. I think I see that you're in here. And I also see that you just recently followed me. So that way I didn't have to call you out. You knew better. But yeah, we got BGSH. I don't know what that is. If you could tell me, that would be awesome. It looks like you're utilizing that profile name thing already, which is really solid. We can still zoom this in a little bit more so there's not as much of a cutout on the left and right side. Not the biggest deal though. Don't worry about that too much. First and last name, probably jersey number or favorite number. That's a totally fine username. I would create a space right there, right here, and right here, just so like those vertical lines actually separate the content, right? Your graduation year and your position as well. Baseball, in my opinion, if there's a college coach that sees this and especially sees that and sees that, guys, perfect game. It's just well known, obviously, in the baseball community. I don't think you have to say baseball. If anything, like your position, your grad year, it's speaking to these college coaches, so you don't need to basically tell them something that they already know. Now, I would say because like we're communicating all of this stuff, you can do the flags. Maybe this is like a high school or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but I would prefer some level of like a 3-line approach to a bio. The first line could be like high school travel team. Next line could be metrics. And then last line is a CTA with an arrow down to basically watch your highlight video, and that's where you can put your link in bio. You are utilizing highlights, which is good. You're showcasing what you're getting after in the gym. Really, really important. Life, baseball, yeah, like all these things are good. Baseball, it looks like you're reposting some perfect game Floridas, which is always good. 28, yeah. With a big day at the plate, collecting 2 knocks and driving in 2. Awesome. We got, a lifestyle picture there. It looks like a pretty dark, kind of like going for a little bit more of a cinematic post there. As far as this post, looks solid. More of that team energy. First base right here, I would say that you're 17. You're probably that guy right there. So yeah, one thing I would do is probably just utilize like a pin post of something that really speaks to your game. And that's going to be more, okay, so that is your high school. So I don't know if that's supposed to be HS or SH. Check in on that. It might be HS. But if it's BGHS, make sure that you change that because that might, honestly, I thought that was Bangladesh. I thought that was like an abbreviation that you're from Bangladesh or something like that. I really didn't know. But yeah, so this is where like, if you have this video clip and it's posted from Perfect Game, like honestly, I think this post, if it's just by itself, you can go ahead and pin it because it's coming from a reputable source like Perfect Game Florida. So that's just something to always keep in mind. Let's go ahead and who do we have next? We got Derek Adrian. Derek Adrian, are you still in the building? Because if you are, I'm going to be reviewing your profile. Hopefully you are, Robert Goldman. Yeah, BGHS. Yeah, dude, change it to HS, not SH. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, Derek, if you are still in the building, make sure to stay. Ooh, this is going to be a good one. It's going to ruffle some feathers. Looking forward to it. By the way, guys, we are streaming every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, excluding Sundays. So if you guys like this type of content, come back. We're doing different things just about every single day. We sometimes just do Q&As. But right now we're doing profile audits of high school baseball players, making sure that they're presenting themselves in the most professional way possible for these college baseball coaches. So Derek, thanks for joining in. All right, first and foremost, no profile name whatsoever. So we're reducing our searchability on Instagram's platform. We got Philippians 4:13. I can do everything through Christ who strengthens me. I love it. Dominican, love it. 14U player, class of 2029. So these two things basically speak the same thing. So I would eliminate 14U. It kind of just screams a little bit more travel ball middle school age. 2029 is when you're referring to yourself as a graduation year in the high school recruiting process. So that's going to be something that we want. This is something that we don't want, right? You don't have to say player. You don't have to say class of. You don't have to do any of that. If you just put 2029, baseball coaches will know exactly what that is. As far as positions, instead of second base, third base, in my opinion, these are just like two positions that I don't necessarily think are speaking loudly. And by the way, if you're a second base, third baseman, that's cool. You're just not the shortstop on the team, right? I would prefer that you just go infield, because technically if you're a second base, you're an infielder. If you're a third baseman, you're an infielder. If you're a shortstop, you're an infielder, right? So it spreads it a little bit wider. It's not saying that you're a first baseman, right? It's not saying that you're a shortstop, but it kind of is. It's not saying that you're a second baseman or a third baseman. It's just kind of saying I'm an infielder, right? So I would probably eliminate that, because again, you're kind of telling these college coaches, I'm not the shortstop on the team. I'm either the second base because I'm not good enough, or I'm the third base because I'm not good enough, right? So again, we want to ideally present it in a little bit more of a better way that doesn't necessarily scream that. So infield will be better right here, INF. So really Philippians 4:13, that's fine. That can be one singular line. You can put ideally 2029 up here, infield, right? That can all be brought up. So now we have two more lines. That's where, like, as far as the metrics line, by the way, guys, like what I would honestly be doing, who's your favorite travel ball coach ever? Absolutely Alan Kunkel. I don't know what you're up to, coach. If you're at the college level, I think I saw that you were at USF for a little bit, but that was probably like a minute ago. I hope you're doing well, Coach. Coach Kunkel was an OG of FTB Louisville Slugger, by the way. Way back in the day. That's when FTB days had FTB Mizzou. No, we were FTB Chandler and FTB Louisville Slugger. And I remember I was with Busby and McMullen from Sarasota High School on that team. It was always a good time. I think Busby was on that team. I actually can't remember, but that was a good decade ago. Holy cow. But anyway, yeah, we got a couple more lines. So like right here, in my opinion, this is like the second line. So we can keep Philippians 4:13, the Lord above all. But like metrics right here, what I would do is like 67.2 vertical line. Arm 87 vertical line. EV 92, right? It basically just says this is who I am, right? It right off the bat, it doesn't really go much into it, right? It just kind of says, here it is, here it is, here it is, quick pace. It's easy for these college coaches to be like, okay, is that accurate? I don't know. Again, this is where we can include a link. And by the way, guys, if you have a perfect game that's like a 9 rating or whatever, and don't buy into these rankings too much, but like if you have a pretty good ranking that verifies these metrics, put that as your link. Or you can put a highlight video that also verifies that with screenshots of your perfect game, and it's a little bit more of an interactive experience for these college coaches. So these are just things that I think are important for really all high school baseball coaches. Doing great. Yeah, that was a good team. Those FTV days before it really blew up to many teams, it was a lot of fun. I'll never forget East Cobb. There was a game that it was basically, I never even really knew what this was back then in high school, but we straight up did a bullpen day, and I was not in that rotation. I was not nearly as good as some of those arms that we had for FTB. That was like the A team on Mizuno or Chandler. We were in East Cobb. I think that was the WWBA that ultimately got me recruited by NC State. Yeah, and I remember Coach Jared after that game that I pitched well. He was like, yeah, now you get to choose where you want to go play college ball. But I remember I was one of 2 players at the WWBA in East Cobb, and like that big summer tournament. And I just remember I was like, man, how am I still not committed? Everyone else is getting draft looks. I remember there was literally a bullpen day that the slowest thrower was like 91, 92. I remember like Sean Reed Foley was up there like probably 95, 96. There was a good amount of arms on that team, and I was just spotting up, throwing my changeup back when I used to pitch, which was always fun. But happy to know that you're doing well. If you ever want to link up, Coach, let me know. Shoot me over a DM. Probably on my personal page. My academy page is getting absolutely swamped. But always good to hear from you. All right, let's get into some questions, because there have been some questions that have been populating over on Facebook and Instagram, and especially on YouTube. So let's get into it. So A 2026 outfielder with average speed. So I'm guessing that's foot speed, but good bat to ball. Where does that fit? So more of a contact guy. So if you're an outfielder, this is where we want to have plus speed, not average speed, right? If you really think about, well, I guess that really comes into the effect of, okay, so if you're, let's not even talk about graduation year right now. If you're a center fielder, this is where we want to have plus foot speed, right? If you're a corner outfielder, so basically left or right field, let's just talk about right field, what you really want to have more is a power bat. So basically this is where the more of a dispersion of the center of the field, think shortstop, second base, center field, the more of a dispersion from that center of the field, the more power you need to basically have, right? If you're more on the center of the field, center field, shortstop, you need to have a little bit more of that lateral quickness, being able to track balls, especially if your son's an outfielder. So if he has average speed, that's kind of like already putting him a little bit closer to the corner of the field. Now, if he's more of a contact hitter, again, if he's more of a contact hitter with plus speed, that's okay. If he's more of a contact hitter with average speed, these are like two areas, again, that are going to kind of like push him off to the side rather than keep him in the center of the field. And I always believe that it's best for really all high school baseball players to make sure that you're keeping yourself in the center of the field so that way you're an athlete for as long as possible. And I'll never forget when I was in high school, guys, like my freshman year, I ran a 9.5 second 60. I was not the most athletic guy. And I just saw something maybe that other people saw as well, but like I was a good pitcher that we were just talking about with Coach Kunkel, but like I was a pretty good pitcher. But I remember thinking to myself, I don't want to pigeonhole myself into just being a pitcher, especially at the college level. So I wanted to at least keep the door open. That's why I worked on my 5.10.5. I worked on my speed. I worked on just basically becoming more athletic. And with that, obviously, I really wanted to make sure that, like, with that athleticism, I had the door that was open to be able to play infield. And really, that second chance that I had in college, for those that don't know, my freshman year, I mostly pitched. But that second opportunity is what really propelled my career to be able to play professional baseball. So, again, guys, if we have just like average speed, you're going to start playing the corner positions. And by the way, in college, I played mostly third base. It wasn't until really like COVID that I trained in a different way. I changed up my training regimen. I remember before COVID, I broke my wrist. There were some hurdles that I got over. I got up to AAA pretty quickly. But I remember once I got to AAA, I was still playing like some first base, some third base, and I was like, I have the best glove of anyone. I know that for a fact. Like, and I had this like hunger to become a shortstop. And like for a long time, I was okay with playing third, but I was like, my bat isn't necessarily the most powerful to be a third baseman. I need to be more of a shortstop because that's also where I provide a lot more value with my glove. So I changed my training regimen up completely. I went more for an explosiveness, like lighter weight. And this also was like mentally, I didn't want to lift heavy with my wrist. Like just the thought of deadlifting heavy, I was like, man, I feel like my wrist is going to snap off again. So I trained very lightly. I think the heaviest weight that I ever carried in my training regimen in that COVID years was probably around 40 pounds, like a 40-pound dumbbell, so nothing super crazy. But I was more or less doing HIIT style workouts where it's a higher heart rate, quicker pace movements, and throughout the course of that really helped me go from more of a corner third baseman to a shortstop, which typically speaking in professional baseball, it's more shortstops that turn into third basemen because their athleticism isn't there. So I really understood that, like, if I wanted to have a longer career, especially in pro ball, I needed to shift something, and especially with how my bat was playing, it made more sense to become a shortstop where I provided value with my glove rather than, trying to redefine myself, which is one of the core concepts that I teach all my students on our onboarding call. Is like, we're trying to just really perfect what we're already good at. We're not trying to redefine ourselves, and that's where self-reflection obviously is a superpower for a lot of high school baseball players, college baseball players, people in general, guys. You do have to have that ability to self-reflect and to be able to understand where you are, where your feet are, and making sure that you don't get too forward thinking into where you want to go. Because I definitely had that moment. I actually just recorded a YouTube video about this, and it is important to know, like, I'll kind of go through this story. So I was hitting about 400, right, in college at the D1 level against the ACC talent, right? So you can think, like, I was hitting 400. We had about 2 weeks left. And at this mark right here, 2 weeks left in the season, it was right before the ACC tournament, right before our regionals, my head coach basically says, hey, you're going to the Cape. And I didn't know what the Cape was back then. I just wasn't well educated, in my opinion. Like, I just didn't really know what it was. I started doing research when he told me. He was like, hey, I think you'd do well in the Cape. Do you want to play a summer ball? And I was like, I think so, yeah. I mean, sure. It wasn't necessarily like a definitive yes, I want to go, and I'm so excited. It was just like, yeah, sure. But I was more or less focused in the moment before he told me that on these next 2 weeks, the ACC tournament, the regional, things like that. But of course, there is a level of planning, and he told me that because he was like, yeah, you're invited to go play in the Cape. You're going to be playing on this team. And I was like, cool. So I started doing research, and I was right here. So those are my 2 feet, right? Those are my 2 feet, okay? I was right there. But my mind was thinking about over here in the Cape. And we still had this tournament, which was the ACC tournament. We still had this, which was the regionals. And I remember I was hitting 400 at this moment. Like literally in my entire season, I was hitting 400. I was doing really, really well. And I slipped down to basically at the end of the regional, I was hitting 362. Right? In my opinion, like that's when I was like kind of frustrated with myself because I mentally wasn't where my feet were, right? And I think that's a huge mistake that a lot of high school baseball players make all the time because you want to be in college, you want to have that scholarship, you want to land these NIL opportunities, right? You want so much more beyond, right? But you need to understand where your feet are right now and making sure that you're winning each and every at bat, winning every single pitch, winning every single ground ball during practice. You can't be a D1 player without working on the fundamentals every single day in high school and making sure that you have that competitive atmosphere in your mind, right? These are the things that I just want a lot more high school baseball players to realize because it's not always the case where you guys think this way. And this is part of like the mental development side of things that I think it is important to address. It's not like, I'm not going to say it's like absolutely needed, but I think it's just like, you gotta do these things, right, guys? And if you're not, you're just gonna be frustrated because you're neglecting your mental side. You're not fully just like into it. There's a lot of downsides. I really do think by just not focusing on the overall, mental development. And I could go into, and by the way, guys, when I say development, like, do you guys ever get confused on what I mean or what I mean by development? Do you guys ever, like, get confused by it? Because I could give you guys a little bit of a diagram real quick. It's like this big umbrella of player development. Player development, that's the umbrella, right? And we got physical, we got skill, we got mental, we got diet and nutrition, and we got leadership. Like, this is what creates professional baseball players at the next level. It's the overall player development. It's not just working physically in the gym. It's not just your skill work by going to a hitting coach one day out of the week. It's not your mental side by saying, hey, I got this, and breathe more when you're at the plate, because that's a very simplified tip of the iceberg style of approach on mental development. It's not just counting calories. You want to be counting, obviously, making sure that you're getting a protein intake. You also are strategic with your training regimen, making sure you carbo load before any type of physical exertion, right? Because we're athletes at the end of the day, we need to fuel ourselves. I always love the quote in professional baseball, you're not going to put regular gas into a Ferrari, right? And we are all Ferraris. By the way, it's my dream car. It's a nice Ferrari. What is it, like an SF90 or something like that? I don't even know, but I've always loved Ferraris. But last but not least, leadership, making sure that we understand that it is beyond ourselves. It's not just us. It's the people that we get to surround ourselves with. That's something that was really cool. It was called the Cardinal Core with the Cardinals organization. It was about 7 or 8 guys for each minor league team that they usually stuck with. We had a little bit of a notebook. We would go through the notebook chapter by chapter, talk about certain concepts, basically walk through like our mental approaches with helping out teammates, what to do in this situation, how to flush negativity, like all these things that are helpful not only for ourselves, but to become leaders and really pillars you can say in the community, but really in the community inside the clubhouse, right? So that's like the leadership side of things. That is that icing on the cake for a really talented player. I heard the who listening right now, and just a show of hands, show of an emoji or anything like that, who heard Anthony Rizzo's speech about Aaron Judge? Did anybody hear that speech that Anthony Rizzo did about Aaron Judge and how amazing of a teammate he is? And typically speaking, he said, if you're a superstar caliber player, which I think this was the part that really struck with me. If you're a superstar, Rizzo basically said, you have to be selfish-ish, if I can spell, right? You almost have to be selfish with your craft. You have to be selfish with your training. You have to. And he said, well, Aaron Judge, he's not selfish. He's selfless. He makes sure that everyone feels comfortable. It doesn't matter if you're from the Dominican. It doesn't matter if you're from Japan. Ultimately, it matters about being a unit, being a community, and that's something that Aaron Judge is obviously very good at. I wouldn't know. I never really shared a clubhouse with him. I will say when I was in with the Cardinals, we had a spring training game against the Yankees, and that was in Tampa. And I remember walking past him and Giancarlo, and I was like, those guys are tall, man. They really are tall. But yeah, obviously, like, great human beings beyond that. So like, you can be that superstar caliber player, but having that ability to give back to the teammates, make them feel comfortable, like, that's the area that I think it's important to be that icing on the cake as far as, again, that leadership umbrella, right? Not umbrella for leadership, but that umbrella for player development. Like that, like, think about like an Aaron Judge. Do you think he takes his diet seriously? Also, I brought this up the other day. Do you think Aaron Judge just wants to have a good diet? Probably not. Do you think he wants to have a great diet? Probably not. Do you think he wants to have an elite diet? Probably not. He wants to be mastered his diet. He wants to know exactly what to eat at what time of the day, especially when you get into routines when you're playing 162. You get into routines just like when I got into routines in college and I was on a hitting streak. It's very obvious to get into these streaks and eat the same things and get superstitious. But I would always eat a banana probably 15 minutes before the game, because it's a super easy carb that kind of just sits in your stomach. It's easy for digestion. And like, these are the things that you learn over progression of playing a lot of baseball games, right? We are running down on time, so about 5 more minutes. If anyone has any baseball related questions, feel free to ask. But like, on the mental side, do you think Aaron Judge, when the game's on the line, do you think he has a good, great, elite mindset? No, he's probably mastered his mindset, and that's why he's able to have a batting title and things like that. His skill, obviously, he has to be mastered with his swing, his ability to throw the ball, field the ball, play defense, because that's the skill of playing baseball. But then all his physical development, you better believe he gets after it in the gym, even though he's like 6'7". So hopefully that all makes sense for you guys. Gives you guys a little bit of a better understanding on what is player development, because player development really is broken down into so many subcategories, and I think a lot of you guys love to focus on just this 1 hour of hitting. Coach, that's basically what you guys refer to as, yeah, my son's developing. Oh, just in this small little people, that's all he's doing, right? So keep in mind, right, with what we're doing, what our focus is, because your focus can be good, it can be poor, and not everyone is able to really realize if they're doing it in the right way or the wrong way, especially if they're not learning from someone that's actually gone through the process themselves. So if you guys are still sticking with me, and you guys are interested in working one-on-one with me inside my remote training program, it's called the Triple Play, where we focus on the physical, mental, and recruiting guidance. Typically work with high school baseball players. Every once in a while, we'll work with a dedicated 8th grader that understands it's a little bit more of a long-term play. But if that's something that interests you guys, you can always click the link in my bio and learn a little bit more about myself, my playing career, things like that. But outside of that, I'll let you guys, I'll open it up to questions for maybe 1 or 2 minutes, maybe 1 or 2 questions, and that way we can take things off until the top of the hour. Okay, good question. Here we go. Let's get to it. So I'll actually record this one as well. All right. I want to make sure it's recording. Okay, there we go. We've emailed 30 schools and we've emailed 30 schools and only heard back from 2. Is that bad? So right now you have a 2 divided by 30. You have a 1.5% response rate. Did a quick little math right there. I'm more curious on, okay, you have 2 responses, right, out of the 30. Well, how much out of the 28, how many of them actually opened up your email? Out of the 28, how many clicked on your email? And when I say clicked on your email, that means ideally on a perfect game profile or a highlight video of your sons or of your content, right? So if we think about 28, really out of the whole 30, I should say, how many of them opened? If we can get like a 70 to 80% open rate, that is exactly where we want it to be to make sure that we're reaching the right person. So we really, out of those 30, we need to ensure at least, what, 25? What is 25 divided by 30? That's, 83% open rate. And out of that open rate, we want to probably get, out of the 25, we probably want to get somewhere in the ballpark of like 18 that have clicked. So that means there's a 60% click rate. And that's a CTR for the marketers out there that know what that is. But basically, these are the things that we take into account when we install our outreach system inside the College Commitment Blueprint. For those that don't know, it basically is an automated process to be able to copy and paste the same template, but we keep all of the communication personalized to these college coaches while also tracking these very essential, critical data points, right? Just like we're tracking our 60-yard dash time, our arm velocity, our exit velocity, we need to be tracking the same things in our email. Again, because what gets measured gets improved. Hopefully you guys resonate with that because, again, guys, what gets measured gets improved. All right, guys, we'll wrap things up with a quick little recap. Again, guys, today was day 13. So if you guys have any baseball-related questions, feel free to always ask on our next live. I didn't grade everyone, but we're going to go one by one and kind of just go through a recap of day 13. Thank you for joining in, guys. At the very end, if you have like one question as I'm going through this recap, I'll do one last question at the very end, but let's get this started. All right, let's recap day 13 of 50 of streaming every single day. We did some profile audits of Samuel. We did another one of Gavin. We did another one, by the way, of Gavin. We talked about decision fatigue, and we never want to include too many links in our bio, especially when it says one more, because that requires the college coach to click one more to see what links. Ideally, what we want to do is reduce that decision fatigue by only including one link in our link in bio. Right here, as you can see, Martin doesn't really include too much of a bio. He does include just one other profile, but he also has a private profile, which is never good for these college coaches to really see what you're all about. Noah plays football as well. This is a quality picture that honestly needs to be his profile picture, and we're not really including much into our bio, or again, neglecting the profile name, which a lot of high school baseball players are doing. For Gavin, again, not really including much into our bio. Here we have Jackson word kind of vomited right here in his bio. Right here we put everything and mushed it together, and ideally we need to make it a little bit more easier on the eyes. Went over some of the core concepts that I have, especially with highlights and pinned post. We need to be utilizing that if we're a high school baseball player and we take the process serious, especially on social media and potential NIL opportunities. Braxton is not following me back, shame on him, but the content really solid. There is an opportunity to optimize the bio and especially the profile name, and especially having some type of a CTA link in bio to be able to guide that traffic maybe to a YouTube video. Again, no link in bio right here. We have opportunities as well to include a little bit more. Profile picture right here for Christopher is actually really, really solid. This is a perfect game Florida post that honestly I would pin, so that way college coaches immediately see that right off the gate. We also have Derek right here as well. Again, not necessarily including, he's including the 14U, which isn't the most important thing. Graduation year is going to be more important. We can include that link in bio. And again, we can include metrics as well because now we've freed up that space. Profile picture needs to be zoomed in a lot a lot more. We also talked about basically how if you're a 2026 outfielder with average speed and more contact skills, you're going to start being pushed off to the side of the field. We ideally want to stay in the center of the field as long as we can stay athletic. I also talked about being where your feet are and not focusing on where you're going. That basically caused me to go from 400 to hitting 362. I did have a little bit of a slip in a late part of my sophomore year of high school or college. We also talked about the player development umbrella, and this is basically an area where we can be focusing our abilities. And a lot of high school baseball players, and especially parents, think you're doing like this 1 hour of hitting coach every single week. That's like the only development that you're doing, but there's so much more that you're neglecting over here. And then here we talked about basically if you email 30 coaches and only 2 respond, you have a 1.5 response rate. How many really open? What is our open percentage? What is our click-through percentage? These are areas that I always love to talk about in the whole college outreach system that we teach inside the College Commitment Blueprint. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, you can always click the link in my bio to learn a little bit more. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap things up. It's past the top of the hour. So if you guys do have any baseball-related questions, feel free to ask at our next live, which is going to be tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And come prepared. It's going to be a good one. Take care, guys.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
First giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, 2 joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a